Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Sean here with BlueRidgeSilverhound. Hope everyone's having a fantastic morning, evening, afternoon, whenever you're watching this. Hopefully, you guys are doing outstanding. So I have a quick, nice little segue video, and I promise it won't take 36 minutes this time. From a video I just had posted, but if you did miss it, I'm actually going to put the link somewhere up here on the top right corner of the video, or top left, or wherever you see it at. But that's the outgoing video that I just had posted. And what I did was talked about some of the coins that are going to be in short supply during the holidays. Which I think I did a relatively decent job at that. Let me know in the comments if I did so, ranting aside. But what I wanted to also talk about is kind of a supplement to that video that I think a lot of people don't really pay attention to, especially those that kind of go out and they purchase the graded coins, most specifically. You might even use this on coins that you're considering to send out to grading. Grading right now is, very popular. So I could see why it's happening on kind of like both sides of the conversation. You know, you have the resellers here, and then you have the people that collect and do the registry set here on the other side. But if you were going to get into the graded coin market, number one, it's absolutely popular right now. A lot of people are getting into it. There's a simply just wide range of coinage from the ultra cheap, if you're looking to get into building some sort of graded set of a modern series, Ike dollars or nickels or whatever, you could get into it where you're only paying like 10, 20 bucks per coin graded in a slab. And whether you use PCGS, NGC, or a few of the other ones. Annex is another one. It's always good to know, and kind of a good idea to know how to manipulate the information that's being given out. You guys know me. I am a huge fan and a huge supporter of pop reports or population reports. I think when I did the video on the video game scandal thing with Heritage Auctions and WADA, one of the big things that I was highly critical about the company WADA that did the video game grading was that they did not have a public population report, which I think they need. They need that for number one, for the collectors that actually invest in these games, because you got to know how many of that one specific grade of game is out there, all right? Because ultimately, that's how you determine how much, number one, you pay for the coin, and number two, how long you keep that game into your collection or what have you. But that's what I love about NGC and PCGS is they have the population reports not only on their website, but they update it monthly, which is good. That's what I like. And we are going to use that population report to help you guys determine what is the best coin to buy for the money. Now, I can't really speak in terms of your budget. All right, the budget, it is what it is, right? Sometimes we only have 25, 50 bucks to spend per month on a coin. But what if we have, kind of like $500 or $1,000 or maybe more? There are people with tens of thousands of dollars that they can afford to drop on coins per month. And that's fine. It doesn't matter what level you are across the board, whether you're the low dollar person or the one that has a little bit more to vet into graded coins. It's always good to know exactly how many coins were produced at certain grade levels. That'll help you kind of make that educated decision on which coins to buy. So that way, when it's time to alleviate yourself from your collection and you go to sell it for maybe something happening in your life, life-changing things really does play that big role in, just selling your coins. You got to sell your coins to make the money, to possibly fix up the house, or, something drastic happens, or, there's a bunch of different reasons. I'm not going to go into it, but you got to make sure that the coins that you have are highly liquid, and having them at certain grade levels is going to ensure that there's going to be much more desirability for your coins when it comes time to sell. All right, so we have 3 coins on the screen here. It's kind of like my thumbnail. We're going to focus on a few of them. We're just going to talk, kind of pick and choose like a modern coin. We're going to, pick out a few of the older stuff. There's a lot of collectability across the board. I would say more of the obsolete type coins are definitely where the investor money is being put into, where it's being parked. Collector grade type stuff obviously is pretty huge, and over the past like year and a half, 2 years, we've seen just a myriad of like super high end coins enter the marketplace because the coin and currency market, along with the rest of the collectibles market, had this just surging boom of popularity during the pandemic. All right, so I would say, if you're going to identify any one coin that you want, obviously go ahead and do the research. I had the 2020 West Point quarter up on there. We'll go ahead and start with that. I know I keep talking about the 2020 West Points, but I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, this is actually a series with a lot of potential because the mintages are quite low on them, all right? So you got to know the mintages, obviously, and a lot of the information can be found online. If you have a Red Book price guide, that's in there as well. You could go actually on PCGS's website, NGC's website as well. It's all out there, all right? $2 million per design of each West Point circulation rarity was inserted into circulation, and these were quite popular. But, there's quite a few graded coins along with a lot of raw examples as well. But what if we were looking for that marquee kind of like centerpiece graded coin? You think you got it good with specific grades. All right, as you can see, there's a lot of MidState 65s. It seems like a very high population grade within this particular 2-year series of West Point Circ quarters. And because of that, do you really want to target a MidState 65? Do you really want to target one graded by NGC where their grading is just slightly more lax than PCGS? Yeah, that's a great question, right? Those are things you're going to have to ask yourself before you decide to pull the trigger and buy them. You don't want to be disappointed by buying a specific grade of coin, come to find out that it's the highest population count of that particular grade. Because when that happens, it's going to be, A, tougher to sell her later on down the road. And number 2, those type of coins will go up in value the slowest because when there's more supply, there's going to be less demand for them, I guess, and that's going to affect the overall price of them. So that's something to keep in mind as you're going through and buying these coins. But as you can see, we've found quite a few MidState 64s and 65s just by scrolling through this first preliminary page. But another grade that we were seeing kind of like, just sprinkled in there is MidState 66. That seems like a really good grade. In addition, it looks affordable as well. So this coin definitely has a couple different levels of value that we could kind of play around with. But if we were to go onto PCGS's website, all right, so there's a number of like quick links and reference areas at the top of this their splash page, and you got Miss Stephanie Sabin named interim president on there. Never got enough of looking at her face on there. Kind of changes things up. But there is a population report, okay? And we're going to go ahead and use this for this particular exercise. We're going to go ahead and choose United States coinage. They got pop reports for a lot of the premier collected countries out there. Let's go ahead and go down to quarters, and we are going to go to the America the Beautifuls. So if you are searching for a PCGS graded coin, use PCGS's website. I would probably cross over and actually kind of look at NGC and PCGS, just so you're made aware of where the population numbers are. But as you can see on the left side, you're going to see all the different national park names. We're going to go all the way down to 2019, 20. Probably have to go to page 2 here. But when we go, let's see, that was a 2020. We'll just go to 2020 because you can see the West Points. They'll say the W right there, and they'll be MidState. But we're going to take a look at the numbers on that particular line. Let's go ahead and use the American Samoa National Park Quarter as our example. These have the V75 privy mark on them. So this particular line right here is only relevant for the 2020 West Point coin. When you move here to the right, you're going to see these numbers. Okay, we're trying to decipher what all the numbering means here. But the number at the end where it says total, you can see it just kind of look down from where that last line is. Those are the total amount of pieces graded by PCGS at this current time. You're going to have to focus on the highest population number of that particular coin, which would be MidState 65. You notice that, if you were to put this onto a bar graph, you're going to find that MidState 65 is going to have the tallest bar on that graph at 1,860 pieces out of the 3,600 that were produced. So would you, and I'm going to pose this as kind of like a trivia question for a lot of you before we get into actually, breaking down the numbers, would you invest in that MidState 65 grade with the highest pop count? Now, me personally, I would avoid that coin because it is the highest graded. Now, the coins that you will want to target are anything to the right side of that highest number, and you can use this on any sort of coins. And this is kind of like that really, really, really neat tool to use. So 1860, and then you have plus grade designations, which we don't see a whole lot of. Those are kind of unique. I think PCGS probably prefers to keep just whole grades without the plus designation, which is like half-point grades. But check out MidState 66 at 834 pieces. That is an awfully small amount of pieces. It seems very high, in the overall grand scale of how many were were graded of that particular coin. But would you rather invest your money in a MidState 65 with over 1,800 pieces graded, or would you go ahead and, go for a lot lower example at the MidState 66 with 834? All right, I think the answer is clear. So in terms of investability for the 2020 West Point American Samoa Quarter, you'll want to focus on these two grades. MidState 66, which that's going to be quite cheap. We're actually going to go back into eBay. We're going to type in American Samoa and then see how much a MidState 66 coin goes for. And then, of course, the top pop grade is MidState 67. These coins have been selling for around $800 to $1,000. I could tell you that much because I've been researching the grades of MidState 67. That just seems to be like the huge cap-off kind of like grade where the investability has a ton of room to grow, but it's not the cheapest either. To a lot of people, dumping $800 to $1,000 on a very modern coin kind of makes their skin crawl, and that's completely understandable, and that's why we're going to talk about a few classics in there. So you'll want to focus on these two grades for this particular coin. But when you go to look at, say, Tallgrass Prairie, see, what's the high number? MidState 65 again. So you'll want to focus on all of the, what I consider to be the investable grade type grades, because they have a lot lower pop numbers. So 352 for a MidState 66, you have 67, which I think is kind of like the grade to get for this coin. I believe that one's like $250 to $300, so there's a lot of potential here. But you can look at essentially every coin on the list, and then you could go and kind of like, it's real easy. Just find the highest number of the grade for that coin, and then buy all the coins on the right side of it, because there's not a whole lot of them. So we were looking at the American Samoa. So let's see if we... my computer's a little bit on the slow side, much like the host. So let's go ahead and type in Samoa here. I don't know why it's in all caps. I'm not trying to scream at you guys, I promise. Sure. Yeah. Samoa, right? Okay. We're going to go with highest first, so that way you guys can see. Let's see. Yeah, MidState 67. People are asking a buttload of money for these. $4,000. I thought they were like $800 to $1,000. I think realistically, when they sell in auction and not as they buy it now, they have been hitting right around $800 to $1,000. There have been a few on great collections that have sold for that amount of money. But the better place to look at is sold listings. I don't know why I'm looking at actual live stuff here, but um, here's a MidState 67. So this is probably your $1,000 coin. This one sold July 12th, and here's a 66. So there you go. This one has max sticker, so that one's inflated a little bit because of that extra certification service. A 67 through NGC, $330. Compared to buying a PCGS coin of the same grade, that seems like a pretty good bargain right there. So definitely look at an NGC as well. So here is a MidState 67, American Samoa Park National Quarry. Oh wow, look at this, $275. So that's NGC. That's a pretty good deal right there. All right, so this is what we're looking at. This is an August 19th sale of a MidState 66. Now, keep in mind, it is a first week of discovery, which will inflate the value of the coin a little bit, because if you guys don't remember, PCGS had this pretty crazy kind of bounty that they had thrown out there when these released, and, it was like free cash. But at the same time, when they were grading these things, they were putting in like early find designation, first week of discovery, which is the first 7 days after it's been released. And those coins typically command a lot more money on the secondary market. But I'm trying to get to, because these are all 67s. Look at that. You can buy one for around $200 for an NGC graded example. Here's one right here. September 14th, which was just yesterday? That was just yesterday. MidState 66, first week of discovery label. How about $150 for this one? So, you always hear that kind of saying, you buy the best coin for the amount of money that you have, all right? Some people collect two different ways. They'll go and they'll buy volumes of stuff. They'll buy like mint bags. They'll buy a bunch of wheat cents, buffalo nickels, and all that stuff. They'll go to the bank and buy bank boxes. Or you have the collectors that buy singular coins. And when you're buying singular coins, you got to keep in mind, it's not a bad idea to afford the most amount of coin for the money. And this is a great example of this. If you had, say, only $100 budget to spend on coins, would you rather buy one really impactful coin and kind of like bump yourself a little bit, or would you buy a bunch? All right. I see both sides of the argument. Some people like to search through coins, and that's its own separate group of collectors. There's really no wrong way to collect, but in terms of investability and future growth of your collection, this is an important lesson to learn. So $150, I'm sure that a few of them have sold for a little bit less. Here's one for $129.30. So there's a few of them out there. And, when you get into the NGC graded coins, they're a little bit less than that. This was a sale over the summer, so sales were down a little bit, or values rather. But there you go. That's the first example of what to look for. All right, so let's jump into a few classics. All right, I would say 1882 Morgan. Morgan dollar is another good one. It's a nice common date of coin. And we'll throw in PCGS, so that way we could just isolate the... Oh man, I don't know what's going on here. My typing is just off. It's off right now. All right, so we have our list of PCGS coins, but same thing. Okay, if this is a coin that we're looking to buy, of course they're going to throw in like San Francisco's and New Orleans and Philadelphia's in here, but let's go ahead and take a look at the Morgans. All right, so Morgan dollars, and then we're going to go specifically to that date, 1882. Philadelphia for this exercise. All right, so here we go. We're not going to focus on like demirror proof like or proof like. We're just going to stick with this main line right here that doesn't have any of those surface designations. So you're going to go to the point where you see the highest pop count. So that's MidState 63. I mean, no big surprise. That's kind of like the most plentiful grade right there. But also 64 is quite plentiful as well. So you see 7,067. So if you were really looking for an investor grade, and keep in mind there's 22,000 pieces graded total with PCGS, I would probably aim for the 65 right here. All right, because you have two really large numbers in 63 and 64. While they're neat, they're not exactly high impactful, valuable type coins. You go for the 65, and then in much higher grades from there. If you can afford a 66, that'd be great. If you could go for the Big Daddy MidState 67, that's even better. But if you guys are curious as to what a MidState 65 example goes for, we're going to go back into sold listings here. So just bear with me for a moment. So here's what a MidState 64 sells like. It's even got a CAC sticker for an S, and it's $139. So let's see if we could come across our first Philadelphia. Seems like Philadelphia's are a little bit tougher to find graded out. There you go. So that's a 64 for $100. All right, so that's what we're looking for there. That seems very cheap, and you could buy that in quantity relatively easy. Here's a 63 for $115. Of course, this one's got some toning on there. Here's another 64 for $121. But you guys get the big idea. You guys see the actual values of how much they sell for. There's another 64. Here's a 64 for $150. Great eye appeal, yada yada. Here's a 65. All right. So this is the first one, sold September 11th for $354. So if you look at the differentiation of the price between 64 to 65, it seems like a lot. But what if you had, say, $500 budgeted for a coin? You would take a look and ask yourself, well, would I buy like 3 or 4 MidState 64 Morgans? Or would I try and go for the nicest, more scarcest coin for the grade? You would definitely go for the most scarcest, because it's going to be a coin that will be easier to sell later on, but it will also be a coin that will appreciate in value the fastest compared to owning 4 of a MidState 63 or a 64 or some sort of hybrid amount, of that type. So there you go. You're looking at about $350 on that one there, and that's a Philly. So just so we're clear, Philadelphia in a MidState 65, and that's a beautiful looking coin. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at one more coin. Let's just do a good old 1902. Let's see. Let's do a $5 Eagle Gold PCGS. Hopefully this will show up. This is a rather kind of like common date. Actually, better yet, let's do 1901. See how that one there shows up. Okay. Or maybe if I took out and put Eagle. Yeah, some of the listings are funny though. It's like if you put the actual denomination in there, it won't show up. All right, so this works for what we need to do. Double Eagles 1901 is a very common. Let's just use double Eagles for this exercise. So we're going to go back into the gold, and we're going to use the Liberty Head series, and we're going to go ahead and scroll all the way down to, it's on page 2 by the way, to the 1901, which is, again, it's a very common date, but we're going to examine the population report for this particular coin, and then we're just going to go ahead and wrap it up. And I welcome you guys to try out this little exercise. All right, so here's our 1901 Philadelphia $20 double eagle. There's been 7,457 total pieces graded by PCGS. All right, so the biggest number right away is 2,722 in MidState 63. All right, the next lowest is 2002. All right, if it were me and if money was not an object, I would aim for even better and go for 65 and higher. All right, a number of only 358 pieces produced of that particular grade. It's a relative scarcity. Whereas these two grades here in 63 and 64, these things exist out there in pretty good numbers. So when we're looking at this, here's a few 64s. You know, keep in mind the 64, it's not anything for sure. These are coins that have tremendous eye appeal at this grade level. But if you know, let's see, this is a gold regular eagle, $10, $10 denom. Here's a 64. I mean, that you're looking at about $3,000 for that coin, which, you know, compared to melt value, it's quite a bit more. Melt's what, $1,600 for that coin. Here's MidState 63 Plus. Again, we're still around that same price, and you're going to notice when you have like two of the top kind of like graded coins, 63 and 64, you're going to find that the price doesn't really change a whole lot. In this case, we're still looking around like $2,900, $3,000. But let's see if we find a 65 in here. Not the easiest coin to find, I would imagine, because there's only 300 some odd pieces. As you can see, there's plenty of 64s and lower in that particular coin. There's even a MidState 60. That's a 64 plus. Keep that in mind. $3,800. You can see that's about an $800 bump right there. No, none. So there, that's a scarcity play for you guys. You know, so in the perfect world or imperfect world, you might want to settle for a 64, but a 64 plus, ladies and gentlemen, is not a whole lot more than what a 64 regular would go for. All right, buy this coin and send it off to CAC, and you're going to get a coin that's probably worth about another $800-900. I mean, look at this 64 with the CAC sticker. You know, it commanded more money. I mean, I don't know how much it was. I mean, you guys can check out Terra Peak or whatever, but you guys get the big idea. You go for scarcity in the graded examples, and you'll do no wrong. That's how you invest and you collect in these coins. Don't settle for second tier. Go for the best possible grade that you could get for the amount of money. All right, so that's what I wanted to talk about. Again, to supplement to the video I had talked about the scarce coins going into the holidays for 2021. But this video is great year-round. All right, you can go ahead and utilize it and take full advantage of the information that's out there. It's to help you invest wisely, and it's also going to help you make some money, all right, in the future, because coins appreciate over time as they get pulled out of the marketplace. We've noticed that, you know, other big revenue sources, everybody's doing business online now. Cryptocurrency is a thing, so there's a lot more money that can be used to buy these coins. So we're just going to see more and more of the safe haven type of stuff disappearing from the marketplace. You might as well go for the best stuff that you can. But that's going to go ahead and do it for this one, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Sean, with Blue Ridge Silverhound. Let me know what you think about this video. Did you get any takeaways from it? It's not 36 minutes. I can tell you that. It's still a long one, and I do apologize about that. Don't forget to like, share, or subscribe, or hit the dislike button. You know, if you don't like the content at all, that's the best way you could support my channel. And Coinaholics, that's going to go ahead and do it on this one. You guys take care, enjoy, and I will see you on the next coin video. So long.